building a team is probably the most important thing about leading this company forward. I think we have an unbelievable asset that's under development, and time will tell if we're able to be successful marketing that. I have every confidence that we are.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us for the Virtual Investor On Demand Summer Spotlight What's Your Story series. My name is Janine Thomas. I am CEO of JTCIR, and today we are featuring JD Finley. He is Chief Executive Officer of Palisade Bio. Welcome, JD.
Thanks, Janine. Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure to have you. And before I start, I'd like to remind our audience that Palisade Bio trades on NASDAQ under the ticker PALI. And during today's discussion, JD will be making forward-looking statements. And I encourage everyone to view the company's website at palisadebio.com for the latest information. JD, we are going to turn it over to you because we do want to hear your story. So let's start. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to CEO of Palisade Bio.
Well, my journey has taken a few interesting turns along the way. If you want to go all the way back, I started undergrad in the health sciences, but then about halfway through switched over to finance and accounting. And that's really kind of where my business career began. I started in the tax department at Deloitte years ago, working a lot on corporate reorgs and that sort of thing. And eventually left public accounting to take one of my clients public. And then we ended up selling it to our largest competitor. So that's kind of where I really started, I think, maturing my business acumen. And then over the years, I found myself kind of moving into investment banking, raising money for companies, and then being asked to come in and many times join the management team. And that's how I got to where I am at Palisade Bio. About 10 years ago, a friend of mine who was an investor in the company had asked me to come in and take a look and see if I could raise money. I fell in love with the science that they were working on. It was not the same drug we're developing today, but it was in the GI space. And I've got a number of close family members who are afflicted with GI conditions. So it was passionate for me to kind of be involved in something that would address that. So I ended up raising money for them, and then over time they brought me on the board of directors and then asked me to be CFO, and then most recently, about 3 years ago, asked me to take over as CEO.
Thanks for sharing that, JD. You mentioned something about, shift in strategy with the current company. And I think of a CEO role, and it's typically, CEOs need to have strength, strategy, resilience, and so what have you learned as CEO of a biotech company and is that true? And does that align with your experience?
Yeah, there's no question about it. We had a disappointing readout in what at the time was our lead drug a few years ago. And, it was sort of a pivotal moment for me and the company to decide what we were going to do next. Luckily, we were in negotiations with our current chief medical officer to bring him on. And as fate would have it, he had been working on another drug that he had a good, solid knowledge about. And we ended up in-licensing that in a very short period of time under very favorable terms. And it turns out to be one of the best things we've done for the company. So a lot of that has to do with being nimble on your feet and being ready to make adjustments as necessary to move the company forward.
As you've gone through your role or your roles over the years, and now you land as CEO, I've often heard CEOs mention that, it's very lonely to be a CEO and you have the weight of the world on your shoulders. What are your thoughts on that?
That's not my experience, Janine. I think for one thing, I've got a good, solid board of directors that I work closely with, and that provides good partnership. But I also have some very good people on our team, and we all work together. It's not really a hierarchical structure. It's flatter than that. We view each other with respect and as partners, and I listen carefully to what the rest of the team has to say on issues, and I know they listen to me as well. So it's I think a lot about putting the right people together, the right team together, and all pulling in the same direction.
I love hearing that. All right. So I have to ask, was there a definitive moment that shaped your career, that shaped your focus or your passion?
You know, I don't think there was any single pivotal moment in my career. I think it's just an accumulation of experiences over time, working alongside different leaders, navigating challenges, learning from both wins and setbacks, and like I said, working with a lot of talented people. I think that's kind of been the foundational part of my career.
Tell us one thing that people would be surprised to know about you.
Well, probably the thing that surprises people the most when they get to know me is to find that I am a guitar builder. It's something that I started during COVID. Like many people, I was looking for something constructive to focus on during that time, and it's turned into a real passion. There's a real satisfaction in taking wood, shaping it, making precision cuts. I've always been a woodworker, but building guitars has taken that to a new level in terms of the precision required in order to build a good instrument. And it's funny because I think there are a lot of parallels between building a guitar and building a company. Quite frankly, there's a certain amount of understanding the big picture and what the final outcome needs to be, but at the same time, you need to really get honed in on the details because the details really matter.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. I actually didn't know that about you. So now everyone knows that about you. So thanks for sharing, JD. Let's talk about Palisade before we close. As you reflect on your journey to this point, how do you think your story and leadership positions Palisade Bio to create stakeholder value?
I think part of it is the diverse background I have, both throughout my business, my professional career, but also with Palisade itself. Starting out as a financial advisor, raising money for the company, then joining the board of directors, then becoming CFO, and now being asked to be CEO. It's kind of given me a much broader understanding of the challenges of the company. But I'll still go back to what I said earlier, which is building a team is probably the most important thing about leading this company forward. I think we have an unbelievable asset that's under development, and time will tell if we're able to be successful marketing that. I have every confidence that we are. But what takes it takes more than just a chemical compound to make a biotech company successful, and the secret ingredient is the team. And we've spent a lot of time focused on making sure we're bringing in the right people who work well together, and unfortunately, at times culling out people who are not aligned with the rest of the team. But at the end of the day, it's the team, and I think we've got an unbelievable team that is dedicated to our mission. And I look forward to some big successes with this group.
JD, I second that. I know your team, and I do encourage everyone to check out the team on the company's website. You've done a great job building your team, advancing Palisade Bio forward, and I think this is just the beginning of exciting times ahead. So thank you for sharing your story. I'd like to thank our audience for tuning in, and if you're interested in what you heard today, I encourage you to visit the company's website at palisadebio.com for more information. And on their website, you can sign up to receive their alerts as well as follow their social channels to stay current on the latest information. And if you'd like to hear more of the Summer Spotlight What's Your Story webcast, we encourage you to visit our website at virtualinvestorco.com. JD, thanks again. Can't wait to have you back on. Thanks to our audience, and I wish everyone a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Janine.